Welcome to the Fireside Gathering with the authors of I Don't Become Selfish, I Became Harder to Manipulate, sharing more of their experiences and wisdoms learned, hosted by Sara, Jane. You can go to vocalreiki.com/fireside gathering to find all the authors and where you can purchase the book. Do enjoy.
Welcome to the fireside conversation of the authors of I Didn't Become Selfish, I Became Harder to Manipulate. I'm Sara Jane, the lead author, and for this program, I am delighted to be joined by Jos Smeets. Jos, thank you for joining us. And also Lorree Appleby. Lorree, thank you for joining us. Okay, we're going to start with you, Jos. Chapter 22, Stay True to Yourself, Look Who's Talking. Please share a little about yourself and why you chose to join the book.
Why did I choose? Wasn't much of a choice, I think. You just asked me, and so I thought, well, why should I not do that? It's a nice opportunity to share some things, and of course, we all have to deal with manipulation in one way or another. And after all, after having listened to all the different chapters in the audiobook format, I saw that we all had different interpretations about the subject, but that's no problem. So I took it really literally, I think. So how am I being manipulated, or how do I let people manipulate me? So where can I actually say no in a polite way, in a way staying true to myself? It's a gray area, so I think we are all dealing with this gray area, and maybe one day you get there where you say, well, okay, this is a red line somehow. But I think it differs in every situation. Differs, and it's to do with people. I don't believe there is one answer to that question or problem, but yeah, I think you can just share what you've been through and how you deal with this, and well, and I hope I did say some things or write some things that mean something.
Can we ask you to speak up a little bit so that we can hear you a bit better, please?
So, and then the subtitle was Look Who's Talking, and that is, of course, the ego, which comes back through the back door now and then. So I would like to encourage people to really be true to themselves and always check within. If they do or say something, is it from a deeper knowing, from a real connection, or is it just an old habit, a reaction, which would be called, I would call it the ego. I mean, I don't see the ego as an identity or an entity, I should say, but more like a mechanism that kicks in all the time without knowing it. So it's an unconscious thing, a mechanism, but you get to recognize it's more and more easily, I think. That's it.
Bless you, thank you. And Jos was absolutely brilliant. He put the audios of all the chapters together, and there is a link within the book that connects you to the audios, so people haven't actually got to buy those separately. So it's not an audio book, it's just an audio of the chapters. Lorree, Chapter 3, The Risk of Living My Truth Instead of Someone Else's. Share a little about yourself and why you chose to participate in the book.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me here. And I really appreciate Jos introducing me to be a part of this, because it was actually a really therapeutic way for me to process a lot of experiences that I've been through, especially over the last 5 years. I am a radical living master coach, spiritual life coach, and focusing on forgiveness. And I've had to do a lot of that myself. And so, that has been my life of not living my truth and conforming to what others tell me is the way to be or how to act or whatever it was. And that was all of my own choosing. But at the time, I didn't realize that. So, writing this chapter just the title just really jumped out at me, because a lot of my life I felt like I was being selfish for wanting to do things my way, or having my own having my own choices and not feeling safe enough to be able to make them, because I was looking for love and acceptance outside of myself. So the risk of living my truth instead of someone else's was an amazing way, because I thought I had looked at how I had processed things, and really writing that chapter and writing it from a way that anybody that was reading it from any perspective, my goal was to be able to have them to engage in it and to give them something to think a little deeper on, because we all have our own truth, and sometimes it's aligned and sometimes it's not. And in my opinion, it's important to be able to allow people to be on their own journey at their own level. So just in doing that, it's given me the opportunity to accept myself and where I'm at. And so it's been a really wonderful experience, and it really helped me to grow. And I hope it has for the readers as well.
Bless you. Thank you. I think that's why we've all shared our story, is to support others, to move along their life path wherever they are on it, and to know that they aren't alone. So sort of, yes. We're going to stay with you, Lorree, because I've asked each of you for an extra little topic, something beyond the book, but something extra to offer. And you've said the art of letting go of judgment and disappointment. Share a little about what you mean by that.
Yes. So this was has been and still is a big learning and growth trajectory for myself. When a person like myself conformed to what other people would tell me or what society would say, I really paid attention to all of those judgments. And I also realized that I had a lot of my own judgments, obviously coming from childhood experiences and beliefs and all of that. So it ran my life, and it made me just really think very limited. And I would have a lot of disappointments, and I didn't know how to work through them and be accepting. So I've done a lot of work on the art of processing judgments and disappointments. And I feel like it's a really important skill to have, because when we are tied to what the outside world is telling us the way we're supposed to be or how we're supposed to think, and we're not being true to ourselves, we're not tuning in, well, what do I actually think? What do I actually want? How do I feel? And am I okay that this didn't go the way I planned? And very much like Yas is going to be talking about, it is the ego, right? It's that small self that's trying to control everything and keep us safe and keep us status quo, and that's not how life is. So being able to process it, and of course have our feelings about things when something happens, because judgment's always going to be the first thing that comes up, But then being able to move through that process so that it doesn't, take up all that real estate in our mind, and we can actually like let it go and be okay with whatever the outcome it is, because there's a bigger plan unfolding that we cannot possibly control. So being able to surrender into that as well is extremely important. It's what brought me peace in my life to be able to do this. So I thought it was an important topic to share.
Bless you. Thank you. Jos, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I did write that in the chapter. But for me, of course, all people who call themselves spiritual always talk about not judging.
Oh, no, not your topic. On Lorree's topic. We'll come to yours shortly.
But for me, so Lorree talks about forgiveness, and okay, that's okay. But my approach is different. As I wrote in the chapter, and that's something I learned from Ram Dass. He says, try to live at least on 2 planes of existence. For me, that is what you could call the human plane, this world, and the spiritual plane, or the absolute and the relative. And that works perfectly for me, because on the human plane, I can just judge. But the thing is that judgment is always relative. So it's never absolute, because I know and I feel that all these bad people in this world that I judge, because I'm a human being, I don't judge them really, because in the end, we're all spiritual beings, and that's our real self in a sense. So then you could also say that we are all angels or something like that, spiritual beings. So it's totally useless really to judge at all, because we're just doing a thing here, and we're in this play, you could say, and on this plane we have our characters and we do our things. But so my judgment is never a real judgment. But on this plane,
Yeah,
I even judge harder than I ever did before, because it's part of the role. But it works.
bless you. Judgment is something, yeah, I did all the time. As a people pleaser, I was trying to please others, and so I was constantly, what would make them happy? That's still a judgment, rather than asking them. But disappointment. How many times have we been disappointed about something, but something better has come up? So it's helping ourselves. But as you said, Jos, we are here having this physical experience. We're here to have the humanness, because our soul chooses that, because they can't feel it. So they're using us to get that knowledge, that information. So how many times have I been disappointed? Yes, of course I have. But these days it's, okay, right, okay, I thought that would be good, but maybe not. There's something better. And it's that acceptance that, and what is it they say? It's when, and I tend to use the word creator rather than God, can give 3 answers. Yes, no, I have something better for you. And so, or actually it's yes, not now, I have something better for you. Let's get that right. Because it's not our timing. It's what many people would call divine timing. And so, and yes, going through that with all the recordings of these at the moment, sort of, we have to accept this in life, that things don't always go the way we expect them to. And that's fine. If we are prepared to stay out of judgment, to accept the fact that, oh, maybe there's something better around the corner for us. It's our thoughts. It's the way we empower ourselves to think about things. So yes, thank you. Right, we're going to stay with you now, Jos. You've put the spiritual ego. Your thoughts on what that means to
Well,
you?
in this world of spiritual people, so-called spiritual people who call themselves spiritual anyway, I see that there is a lot of ego going on. Because being a spiritual being, or being a spiritual seeker, or even a Buddha, some people call themselves a Buddha or regard themselves as a Buddha already, they actually turn out to be spiritual egos. So I've come across a couple of them, and then it's just another role that people play, and you feel that it's just not right, that's not true. But it's hard to recognize, because well, I know a person, and he said to people, I'll just give you an example. He said to people, well, the universe tells me you have to move to Germany. And he said that to, I think, 4 or 5 people. And they actually went there. But nothing happened there. So about manipulation, what the is that? I mean, but they really think he's a Buddha. He knows, he really knows. And I think, oh my God, this guy is a real ego, and a spiritual ego. And we had a falling out, and so our contact is over and done with. But yeah, it's something I really see a lot in that world. There's when I was going through the chapter of this book, I was really positively surprised how, shall I say, humble or ego-less most people are. That was a really good thing, because in spiritual circles, I do see a lot of spiritual egos who feel themselves, feel that they're special, and I don't know what these strange people think, but I mean, you can say a lot of spiritual things. People say spiritual things, but most of the time, or a lot of the time, it's just parroting. You can say all kinds of very wise things. But what I put in the email was, I think it's a phrase from the Course in Miracles, and Eckhart Tolle uses the phrase in one of his talks. He says, to say these things means nothing, but to mean these things means everything. And then I got another quote by Mooji. He says, put some flesh on these bones. So you can say things that are true, but the thing is, are they true for you? Do you really mean it? Is it from your experience, or is it just something you learned just from the mind and not from the heart? And then it's just fake. It just doesn't work. I mean, was yesterday something? People say, well, that's your problem. You got a problem? Sorry, that's your problem. That's actually true, of course. But is that helping? It's not. So a very essential part of being spiritual, I think, is being compassionate and being human. And always go back to that. Yes, we're all going through the same things. We all have our difficulties. So there's really not any reason to be arrogant or to be whatever. And lots of people really think that they are special and more than and better than. And if you use more than and better than, you know it's the ego. Because only ego makes comparisons like that. It's bullshit. Something like that.
It's a real passion of yours, isn't it, Jos?
I know.
Thank you so much. Your thoughts on that, Lorree?
Yes, I definitely have experienced the spiritual ego. in others and in myself. And I feel it is part of our growth process of our evolution as a awakening human. And it regardless of how much inner work we do and healing work and spiritual work and all the knowledge we can gain, you know, we still have an ego. We still have a split mind. That's not going away. I believe we just become more aware of it. And my own experience has been that I do have to constantly, not constantly, but very often check myself, noticing when judgments come up, when arrogant feelings come up. Not that they come up very often, but I'm human, you know, these things do come up. And, you know, that subconscious programming runs so deep. And I'm no better than, you know, anybody, and they're no better than me just because I've done certain things and I've learned certain things. I do fully agree. For me, it's about embodying it. You know, my actions speak as loud as my words. You know, words mean nothing. It's what I say, what I do. And I've got to this point in my life that I feel very incongruent if I am not being authentic, and if something is, I have judgments of someone, it's my signpost that there's something there for me to look at, that spiritual ego is creeping up on me, because the ego is very smart and it's meant to keep us safe and survive. So once it learns we have a new belief system, it's going to adapt to that. And I've in the past did find myself judging people who were just like I used to be. So really all I was doing was judging a past version of myself. Because when we point that finger out there, you know, it is about what we're judging in ourselves. So it's spiritual ego is a huge thing, as well as you know, that spiritual bypassing as well, you know, just thinking, oh, because I know the bigger picture, I don't have to have this human experience. Yes, we do need to feel our feelings. We do need to fully go through the experiences. We can't skip over that to the spiritual big picture that, you know, it's all love and light and all of that. If something happens in our life, we must move through it, and then we can get to that. And having the spiritual practices and knowing all of the things I know, I am able to put them into practice. And that's what, for me, really roots me into being more authentic and walking my talk and embodying spirituality, and really just being a human with, like, that's leading from her heart, you know, because that's really what it's all about, in my opinion. And so, yeah, that's my thoughts.
No, bless you. Thank you. I've been doing this, probably for 25 years now. And I very early on realized how special I am and how special absolutely everybody else is. We are all uniquely special with our own gifts. So no one is more or less special than anybody else. And that, for me, is really important, because that keeps you grounded. And I have had people tell me I'm special, and I smile about it because I can accept it without any form of conceit. And being the old days of the people pleaser, I just couldn't have accepted anything like that. The embarrassment would have been, so I have grown a bit. But I remember standing in a mind, body, spirit fair I'd organized. And again, we potentially are going back 20 years ago. I remember standing there and thinking, how many lives can I touch? But if I support others to share, to get out there, how many more lives can we touch? And the acceptance that I'm not right for everybody. So doing this book and to have 27 of us seven of you being guys is brilliant, is fabulous, because everybody is sharing from their experiences, their understanding, their perception of their experiences. Somebody could have almost an identical experience, but their perception is going to be different from the other experiences they've had in life. And so I love the fact that people may not resonate with every story, but when we put our feelings of how it has made us feel, it's our feelings that people are going to resonate with. And the fact that everybody has so beautifully given sort of their thoughtful nuggets and pearls, has given their thoughts and their wisdom to support others of how they came through it and how they've come to themselves, how they found themselves. And that is important. We've shared these things within the book to support the people with our true stories. And as you said, sort of, Goss, it's about, we care so much that we chose and choose to share. And I am so grateful to each and every one of you. I'm going to come back to you both and just share, is there something that we haven't touched on that you'd like to add to this before we close? So Jos, I'm going to come back to you.
Just before when you were talking, I had an idea, but it's gone really. Mr. Bowland.
Do you want me to go to Lorree first and come back to you?
Pops up.
Lorree, your thoughts?
I would say how important I feel it is to explore different perspectives with compassion and with openness and with willingness. That is how I learn. And there are many perspectives that I don't maybe fully agree with or don't fully understand. However, when I can explore and be open and listen to other perspectives, that's how I learn, that's how I grow. And it gives me a greater acceptance that, like you were saying, we are all unique, and we all, I really believe we're all here on our, like the name of my business, our own purposeful journey. And it's our choice, and it's up to us to explore and take that adventure and move through that. So I can't tell other people what their journey is. It's up to them. So being open to other perspectives, being open to sitting with how it feels with us, and moving through any feelings and noticing those are clues. When we have strong judgment or strong feelings, that's a clue that there's something there to look deeper at, rather than just bypassing it and saying, oh, that's BS, and moving on. I wonder why I'm feeling this, like questioning ourselves and questioning judgments and our thoughts and our feelings is extremely important, and how we can expand our consciousness and learn to live from that heart and living loving acceptance. And we all did that, there would be a much more peaceful and loving and kind world. And I understand that not everyone's there, and that's totally okay. But as I do it, I know it affects others around me. And like you're saying, like our energy does affect each other. So it will be more unified as we practice learning to do this. Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you. Jos.
Go on, I think. No.
Anything that you can think of other than from what we've said?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to say a very big thank you to both of you for joining me for this, and for being part of the book, and for all that you've done with this. If your information, your bios, your websites are underneath the video, the page that you've found this video on, it's underneath. And if you're watching via YouTube, it's underneath on the YouTube, along with the little write-up that came with each of those extra topics. If anything speaks to you with any of my guests, any of the authors, and you wish to get in touch with them, check out their websites, get in touch with them. We share because we care. And as was, because of the channeling I do, Grandmother Turtle, the more we share, the more we care, the more love there is in the world. This, to me, is what this is all about. Thank you. Take care. Be safe. Stay well. Namaste, sweet souls. Thank you, Jos. Thank you.
Same to you.
Thank you.